some fun tonight. Just leave me alone. I'm running the show. I'm telling you, it's my time to rise up. Live the life I'm proud of. No, you better go. I'm telling you, it's my time to rise up. Live the life I'm proud of. Hey now, don't be shy. Follow my lead if you wanna be mine. Hey now, just you and I, we could be the next Bonnie and Clyde. Hey now, don't be shy. Follow my lead if you wanna be mine. Oh, it's a time to rise up. Live the life we're proud of. Just leave me alone. I'm running the show. I'm telling you, it's my time to rise up. Live the life I'm proud of. No, you better go. I'm telling you, it's my time to rise up. Live the life I'm proud of. Hey now, don't be shy. Follow my lead if you wanna be mine. Hey now, it's you and I. We could be the next Bonnie and Clyde. Hey now, don't be shy. Follow my lead if you wanna be mine. Oh, it's a time to rise up. Live the life we're proud of.
Hello, everybody. Eric Horry here. Welcome to day one of the 3-day presentation power challenge. And we got some great people here going to be sharing with you. I'm going to turn it over in a moment to Pete Vargas, who's going to act as our kind of MC over the course of this special event. But before I do that, let me just tell you a couple ground rules as we start. First of all, whoever gets the most people to listen to and participate in this challenge is going to win. So you have an opportunity right now to smash the share button, to let people know, to tag people in the comments, and get this message out to as many people as possible. So smash that share button, tag somebody into the comments, let them know, send a broadcast out to your teams, whatever you got to do to get them connected to this content. Because for the next 3 days, we're going to be sharing the 5 major presentations that you need to master if you want to become a network marketing professional. Okay? It's epic. It's going to be transformative. It's going to be amazing. But the person that doesn't see it or hear it or experience it is not going to get the value. So make sure that you're tagging as many people as possible to let them know to get connected to this. Second thing I will tell you is this broadcast that we're sharing with you today is going to be available for 24 hours, and then it's going to be gone. Okay, so there's benefits of being involved, connected here live, but it's going to be available for 24 hours, and then it's going to be history. So make sure that you've got this little window to make sure people see it. Maybe you watch it a couple times, take your notes, be able to really capture the information. And then tomorrow, same time as right now, we will be broadcasting again day 2, and we'll do the same thing. This will disappear. You'll have the same content, and we'll go from there. I will just tell you one thing before I introduce Pete. Learning how to be a great presenter changed my entire network marketing business. Changed everything. Learning how to get past my fear and into productivity, how to tell my story, how to present the opportunity to prospects, present the opportunity to my team, to be able to teach them how to become skilled, to be able to ultimately learn how to have a signature talk and to be able to do a keynote presentation for my company, changed everything. It was just a game-changing experience. So I'm excited to be able to share some of those ideas with you. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to the host with the most, Mr. Pete Vargas. Pete, why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
Hey, Eric, good to be here with you, and just making sure I was muting as I was listening there. So, hey, everybody, I hope you're well. I'm going to bring Eric back on here in a little bit. We also have the great Pat Quinn that's going to be with us today as well. And I'm really, really excited about this. I see everybody. I see folks from Germany, South Carolina. I see you, Suzanne. I see London represented. I see Joshua Tree, California. Hey, I want to ask you a question. I'm going to kind of give you the framework of what to be expecting the next 3 days. Eric's giving you some of that, but I want to give you more. I'm going to set the framework of what you can count on for the next 3 days. And then we're going to have Eric begin to start at the bottom of the pyramid, the foundation to the pyramid, which is your story. That's where we're going to begin today. But I am curious, why are you here and what are you excited about? Why are you here and what are you excited about? I want to see that on Facebook. I want to see that on Facebook because the only people, there's nobody backstage today with us. Nobody. It's everybody's on Facebook. Now we are going to give every single person the opportunity to be backstage with us on Thursday, but nobody's backstage today with us. Nobody's backstage tomorrow. So all we can see is Facebook. And so we're going to ask you to engage. And you can count on a few homework assignments, a few assignments these 3 days. And every one of you will have the opportunity to be on Eric Worre's stage. Every one of you are going to have the opportunity to be on Eric, and actually I should have called it Marina Worre's stage, brought to you by Eric. So you will all have that opportunity to be at GoPro next year and be on the stage, but you have to show up powerfully through this challenge. And it's only 3 days. This is not a week long. And so we're excited about these 3 days. I'm here because you guys are the best at what you do. Excited. Ali says, I'm excited to stop playing small and putting it into action and leaning into the fear. Leah says, I want to learn how to tell a powerful story and develop my signature talk. Rejuvenate our team and my excitement. Oh, man. Guys, get your team here. Get your team here. Eric asked a question last week. How many people of you have a bunch of powerful communicators in your team? And I think the answer was pretty much there's not a lot of people in your team that are powerful communicators, but yet this is the single greatest tool to help you build your business. And so make sure you get your team here as well. Get your team here as well. And so everybody, here's why I'm excited. Over these 3 days, there is going to be a couple of things that will be focused on in this challenge, but all of them have to do with communication. They all have to do with communication. And here's what I feel. There's 5 presentations that you want to master as a network marketer. And over the course of the next 3 days, you're going to learn all of those. And some of you know that we talked about this at GoPro, but not at the level that we're going to talk about it the next couple of days, the next 3 days. And so you want to master all 5 of these. And here's the underarching thing about what makes a great network marketer and allows them to actually see the green is that they become incredible communicators. That is literally the thing below the surface of all of these. Like, how do you become a powerful communicator? That's what we are wanting you to accomplish and everybody on your team to accomplish. And so this is the framework for the next couple of days. The first thing that we're going to be focusing on is story. And that's what Eric's going to dive into here in just a couple of minutes. Your story. Now, here's what I want you to know. There's 2 parts to this. And the beautiful thing about this profession is you start by telling the story of your upline or your leaders. But then you progress to telling your story. Your story. And so in this foundational piece of the pyramid, the thing that will move the needle the most is you becoming a good storyteller. The story of one of your leaders, but essentially the story of yourself. And today In this Facebook group, every single one of you are going to tell your story in the way that Eric teaches you and trains you on how to do that today. Now, the second piece that begins to happen is how do you begin to share your opportunity presentation in a powerful way that anytime you talk about your opportunity, people want to be engaged as a distributor or a customer. That's the second presentation. The third presentation is how do you actually talk about getting started and launching your new people out in a powerful way? Do you realize the way that you communicate this presentation dictates if people are going to go after it or if they're not? And when Eric was training me on this last week, I was like, wow, that's the third type of presentation that you want to master as it pertains to presentations. The fourth one is then you begin to train your different people on different skills. So we could talk about the dozens of skills that Eric believes is extremely important, but we're going to talk about one skill specifically this week. We're going to give you the framework. Anytime you train your people, what is the framework that you should be using as you're training your people on different skills? But what Eric and Pat are going to dive into is how do you start with the skill of presenting, presentation power? Because if you think you, as the star basketball or the star player on the team, can do a lot because you're a powerful presenter, what begins to happen when the entire team becomes powerful presenters? 1 + 9, meaning your team, does not become 10. It becomes like exponentially greater when all of you become powerful communicators. You're not going to want to miss this tomorrow because you're going to understand how to really duplicate that skill within your group. And then last but not least is your signature talk. You want to know what builds your brand and what gets people to buy into you to want to be a part of your company is as you develop your signature talk. These are the 5 presentations that the next 3 days are all about. Yeah, we could have done it in 5 days, but we didn't want to. We wanted to do it in a concise way where you would be here every single day. So who's committed to be here all 3 days? Say 3 days in the comments if you're committed to being here all 3 days. Because I will do this, Eric, and I'll turn it back to you. Here's the 5 presentations. I'm going to put prezos that we want you to master. That we want you to master. And on day 1 today, we're about to get into this. Eric is going to focus on story. And then Pat and I will give some insights on story as well after Eric talks about it. Today's homework assignment will be based around you sharing your 2-minute or less story in this Facebook group the way that Eric trained you how to do it today. And yes, every one of you, we want every one of you to share it, and we'll tell you the hashtag at the end, because what's going to happen is these will get watched. And we're going to pick 10 of them on Saturday that are going to come back and share it in front of us. And all of you will get to see us coach them live in front of all of you backstage on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday's a bonus day. It is a bonus day. But today, we're going to train you on this. And the homework assignment could be life-changing. Being in Eric and Marina's studio is life-changing. And what they continue to do in it, it's amazing. And so we want you to share your story today based on how Eric teaches you. Tomorrow, we're going to focus on these 3, the middle 3. And we're going to help you understand what it takes to get everybody on your team and in your organization becoming a powerful communicator. And then on Thursday, we're going to go backstage. Everybody's going to be invited backstage on Thursday. It costs you nothing to be backstage. And Eric, the thing that I'm really excited about on Thursday is we're going to show them how to use their story and their signature talk to build their business as big as they want to build it in 2021. We're going to lay it all out. These things are not things that we got to dive deep into at GoPro, but these 3 days, we're going to be diving deep into all 5 of these presentations with the homework assignment every single day. And then we'll give you a little bit of a bonus on Saturday. You're not going to want to miss Saturday. Block your calendar on Saturday as well, because several of you who show up powerfully, we're going to be having you share your stories on Saturday. And so, Eric, that's the framework. The group is lit up. I want to see them inviting a lot of people, sharing this with a lot of their team members. They can come in today, but they can come in any day. But I know that you're going to start us off here today, Eric. And so this is the framework. Myself and a few other incredible folks. We're going to bring you some people in, different people, case studies of what this has meant for different people's businesses as well. So you'll be hearing from other people in the network marketing profession that by mastering this, it's allowed them to excel and grow their business to a different level. So Eric, I'm going to turn it over to you. And I know you'll train here. Pat and I will chime in on this. And then I know we'll be given our homework assignment today as well.
Well, I'm excited. And I will tell you also, having Pete and Pat here, we got some other surprises that are going to be joining us over the next couple of days. Pat Quinn is like the speaking whisperer. This guy is just an absolute savant when it comes to teaching people how to communicate to people in ways that people will hear it. You ever feel like you're talking and nobody's listening? You ever feel like you've got something to say and nobody wants to hear it? He knows exactly how to be able to do that. And Pete also, between the two of them, they've taught, I don't know, thousands of people around the world how to be effective presenters, and not only find your voice, but be able to express that voice and be able to have an impact on the world. You hear this cliche and it sounds cliche, but frankly, facts tell, stories sell. We fall in love with the facts so much. And when I first got involved in network marketing, I fell in love with the facts, giving the facts. Let me tell you about the product. Let me tell you about the company. Let me tell you about the compensation plan. Let me tell you about the team. Let me tell you about the support. Let me tell you about the training. Let me tell you all the stuff. Facts, information. Let me tell you the ingredients in the product. Let me tell you, all the statistical stuff. And I thought that statistics was going to attract people. The facts, the info was going to attract people. And you know what I found out? For the most part, until you capture their imagination, nobody cares. Nobody cares about how the compensation plan and, well, we pay out more than anybody in the industry and the awards that somebody won, and nobody cares until you can capture their imagination. And you capture their imagination through story. You build rapport through story. You connect at the heart. You build trust through story. Because if you think about, if you have a bridge that's over two pieces of land, there's water in between, there's a bridge here, right? You have to build trust. The trust is this bridge, and then you can transfer belief. Once you build the trust, and stories help to build trust. And then the belief can be built through other stories, through facts, through information, through follow-up, through experience, through personal connection. You can transfer the belief, but you've got to build the trust first. So my evolution started really heavy with facts, and I literally got slapped in the face. I wanted to tell people all the ingredients of the product and why it was so amazing, and everybody was just yawning. Everybody was just, you couldn't wait for my presentation to be over. And to be honest, the first stories that I learned to tell were not my story. I learned out of self-preservation, because when I started, I was 23 years old, right? So telling my story, I didn't think had any power. So I learned to tell the story of other successful people in my company. That was my first stage. Let me tell you a story about my upline. Let me tell you the story about my sponsor. Let me tell you the story about this person who changed their life. Let me tell you a story about this, stay-at-home mom that's making a fortune. Let me tell you the story about this person who was in a trailer park, living in a trailer in the end of a dirt road 90 days ago, and they just moved into their dream house. Let me tell you the story. Let me tell you the story. Let me tell you the story about the products. Let me tell you a story. And somebody told me something in the training, because I'm going to focus on how you can tell your story, because I believe it's literally your business card. This is your calling card. It needs to be part of your DNA, learning how to tell your story. But I also got to tell you that one of my early mentors told me, if you want to be successful in network marketing, understand this principle. We are storytellers, and we are very well paid storytellers. So decide that you're going to become good at telling stories, not giving facts. Matter of fact, if you look at the Bible, regardless of your spiritual beliefs, what is the Bible filled with? Not prescriptions on how to live your life, stories. It's filled with stories. Here's an example of good things that'll happen if you follow these principles. And here's an example of bad things that are going to happen. And here's the story of David and Goliath. And here's the story of this person being turned into a pillar of salt. And here's the story of this person being swallowed up by a whale. And all of the stories are what people remember. If the Bible was literally just a collection of tutorials of what to do, it would have had one impact on the world. But because it's a collection of stories, it had a different impact on the world. So I want you to fall in love with stories. I want you to fall in love with being a storyteller. I want you to fall in love with collecting stories. Because stories, we're going to get to your story, but stories are your most powerful tool. I write this into your notes. I am a collector of stories. Write that into your notes. I'm a collector of stories. Part of my job is to collect stories. How many stay-at-home mom success stories can you collect? How many doctor success stories can you collect? How many product experience that are compliant stories can you collect? How many rags to riches stories? How many successful people joining and building a big business stories? How many stories from people in other countries can you collect? How many? Every background, every walk of life, every objection. How many people that didn't think that they had enough time to build a business stories can you collect? How many people that didn't think that they had the money to start their business can you collect? How many people who hated network marketing stories can you collect? Because if you have those stories, when somebody says, well, I hate network marketing, well, that reminds me of a story. Let me tell you about my friend. They hated network marketing too. And let me tell you the rest of the story. People will listen to stories when they won't listen to reason. They'll listen to stories when they won't listen to facts. They'll listen to stories. So you are a collector of stories. You need to have a story for every occasion. Start with your upline. Start with people you admire inside your company. Then you need to start looking for stories inside of your team. What's a getting started story of somebody inside of your group that you could tell? What's a story of a friend, that overcame some obstacle that you could tell? Think about stories in every aspect. Upline, company, sideline, downline, overcoming obstacles, prospect stories, you name it. Breakthrough stories. Learn to collect stories. And I'll give you one quick part of the training that worked for me is people would ask me a question, and I learned this from my mentor. Here's how I learned to answer every question. I don't know about that. All I know is, and I would tell a story. People say, well, you know, do people like, you know, is the product, I don't know if the product is priced competitively. I don't know about that. All I know is, and I would tell a story about the product. I don't think people like network marketing. I don't know about that. All I know is, and then I would tell a story. Nobody's making any money in network marketing. I don't know about that. All I know is, and I would tell a story. So write that down. I don't know about that. All I know is, write that down. Put it in the comments. I don't know about that. All I know is, because once I learned all the facts and all the statistics and all the, you know, I knew everything about compensation plans and everything else. I wanted to give those facts. And I found that when I gave the information, I gave the facts, I gave the statistics, I gave the details, nobody took action. But when I told a story, people took action. I don't know about that. All I know is that became my default. That became my reflex reaction to any kind of resistance or any kind of whatever. I don't know about that. All I know is, and then I tell a story. So all of that is kind of a primer to understand that we are in the storytelling business. Facts tell, stories sell. You're a storyteller and a very well-paid storyteller. You need to focus on collecting stories. And when you're faced with any question, look for any excuse to tell a story. Call up the people on your team and tell them a story. Don't give them the facts. Don't, tell them a story. They remember stories. They don't remember the data. Okay? So with that said, let me get to your story. And I'll give you the evolution of this for me. And do me a favor, if this is valuable for you, if you've heard something maybe you didn't know or you needed to be reminded of, smash the share button, tag somebody into this presentation challenge. This is only going to happen for 3 days. This replay is only going to be live for the next 24 hours, and then it's going to be gone. We're taking it down. So make sure people know that this is happening right now. They need to hear this. And if you just joined us after we started, go back when this is done and watch the replay, take notes and collect it. Okay, so my evolution of story. Back when I started, this is my walking uphill, through the snow to go to school story. This is like when we started, we used to do hotel opportunity presentations. We didn't have Zoom. This is before videos were even popular. This is 1989, 1990, right? We used to do an opportunity presentation every Tuesday night in a hotel, and then another one Thursday night, and then another one Saturday morning. That was the rhythm of how we would build our business. And somebody told me, I don't have a marker, but somebody told me, hold on. One of my mentors said, whoever holds the marker makes the money. Whoever's up in front of the room doing the presentation, they're making the money. I'm like, I want to make some money. And I did. I noticed that people who are up in front of the room were making the money. And the way they did the presentation, follow this. They had different people doing parts of the presentation. They had somebody doing like a welcome and open. Somebody would talk about the company. Somebody would talk about the products. Somebody would talk about the compensation plan. Then the host would come back and they would kind of wrap up and summarize. And then they would introduce people from the room to do a quick testimonial, to come up and say, hi, my name is Eric Worre, and here's my background, and here's my story. And my mentor taught me how to give a presentation, because I watched, they would normally invite some people to come up and they'd have like 10, 12 people. But the testimonials would be 30 to 45 seconds long. Bang, bang, bang. And what that presentation, or excuse me, what those testimonials would do is they would validate, those stories would have more of an impact than what was just explained with the compensation plan. Those stories would have more of an impact than what was explained with the facts and figures about the product or the company. Those stories would go, oh, that person's kind of like me. Maybe I should check it out. So my first goal in becoming a network marketing professional was to be one of those testimonials. So I went to my mentor and I said, what does it take for me to become one of those testimonials? Because I want to go up there because I want my guests to see me. I want my team to see me up there giving a testimonial. So he walked me through a framework that I'm going to offer up to you today. And then he role played with me, he practiced with me a bit to teach me specifically how to do this. And I would say it and he'd give me some feedback. I'd say it again, he'd give me some feedback. And eventually I was ready. And everything changed for me when I went up in front of that room and I told my story. My prospects connected with me on a different level. My team members trusted me and connected with me on a different level. And I took that story out of that hotel room and I started to use it everywhere. I used it on every phone call. Let me just tell you my story real quick. I used it on three-way phone calls. Let me just tell you my story. For in-home meetings, let me tell you my story. Over breakfast, over lunch, over coffee, whatever. Let me tell you my story. Let me tell you my story. Let me tell you my story. And I became addicted to telling my story because it worked. When I got resistance from everything else, when I told my story, the resistance went away. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. So I'm going to give you 4 elements of your story. 4 elements of your story. And keep sharing and keep letting people know that this is happening and they're going to get great value from participating with this. And like Pete mentioned and Pat mentioned, or Pat hasn't mentioned yet, but he's going to, we're going to give you an opportunity for you to be able to tell your story and to get into a little bit of a little speak off, maybe even earn your way onto a Network Marketing Pro stage where you can tell your network marketing story, if that's going to be interesting for you. If you're interested in that, put I'm in into the comments, and then we're going to give you an assignment of specifically how to do that. So 4 elements to telling your story. Are you ready? Write this down or put it into the comments so everybody can share these 4 elements. Element number 1 is your background. Your background. What is your background? Every one of you has a background. Put your background into the comments. Let me see what your background is in the comments. Might be a teacher, might be a nurse, might be a construction worker, business person, whatever it is for you. Homemaker, what's your background? Put it in the comments. I want to see your background because every single one of you has a background. You don't need to be a double amputee Mount Everest climber who's blind in order to have an amazing story. Okay? Your background, whatever it is fine. Waitress, clergy, Air Force logistics officer, a mom, a dentist. What's your background? That's number 1. Number 2, what were some of the things that you did not like about your background? Okay. Number 2, what's some of the things you did not like about your background? An example I like to use for this is teachers. If you're a teacher, let me see if I can describe, say because I kind of think of myself as a teacher, but let's say I'm a teacher teaching 6th grade mathematics in school. I could say, hey, my name is Eric Worre, and as you might know, I'm a teacher. You know what? I love teaching. I love seeing when a child's eyes light up and they get it and they feel empowered, and it makes me happy to be a teacher. And, part of me is always going to want to be a teacher, but let me tell you something. Some of the things that aren't so great about being a teacher, it's a very political environment. You got to watch your back. A lot of politics in the education system. No matter how great of a teacher I am, there's only so much I'm going to get paid. There's this whole tenure system, and some people who are not as good of a teacher as me and are going to make more money than I make. I'm a little bit of a slave to the system because everybody knows that I love teaching. So they know that I'll pay for those extra supplies, and they know I'll put in those extra hours, and they know I'll be grading those papers at home when I'm not on the clock, and they know. So it can be frustrating. It can be income limiting. It can be time overwhelming. So that's some of the things I didn't like, right? So teacher, here's some of the things. If you're a teacher, did I describe your life a little bit accurately? No matter what you do, no matter how much you love it or hate it, there's something that maybe isn't completely all the way there. Okay? So your background, what you didn't like. Part 3 is that you found a solution. You found something to be able to fix those problems. You're not just complaining about your problems and leaving people there. You're talking about those challenges. You say, I found something. I found something. I found a way for me to be able to use my teaching background, but not have the limitations that I had before. I found a way to have an impact on people's lives. I found a way to be able to take charge of my time. I found a way to be able to make more money. I found a way to be able to have a bigger difference. Found a way. And part 4 is how you feel about the future. So now when I wake up in the morning, I don't feel exhausted and taken advantage of. Now when I wake up in the morning, I feel like I'm on purpose, and I'm building something for the first time, and I can see blue sky when all I saw was a ceiling before. I'm appreciated now instead of just being tolerated. I'm being celebrated. I'm surrounded with like-minded people. I've got a plan. I've got a dream. I've got a direction. So 4 steps: your background, what you didn't like, that you found a solution, and how you feel about the future. And of those 4, what do you think is the most important? A, B, C, or D? Background, pain, solution, and how you feel about the future. A, B, C, or D? What do you think? A, B, C, or D? Put it in the comments. Here's the truth. It's B. It's your pain. It's the challenge that maybe you were facing. When I do this live with people, we have a live event, I'll have you do this together and kind of role play it. And the feedback that I get is, wow, this person's just like me. This person has the same doubts, fears, anxiety that I have. This person, underneath all of this stuff, we're all pretty much the same. We share the same challenges and doubts and fears. And when you connect with another human being and you show your authentic self and you share that pain, they're willing to listen to the rest. So I have people do this a couple times, and then and what Pete and Pat talk about, this story braid framework, which they'll mention to you. It's emotion and story with some information, and then emotion and story again. And that's what your background and your pain, you found a solution, is in the middle, and at the end is that you're excited about your future. This is just a way for you to tell your story. Now, as you do this, we're going to give you a challenge to tell your story, to go on social with a hashtag and tell your story and share it with the world. And even, you got to practice it, whatever, even if it's rough, it's not perfect, doesn't matter. You should be able to tell your story in less than 2 minutes. When I did it in the hotel meetings, I learned how to do it in like 45 seconds. But in 2 minutes, you can build a friendship and a connection with another human being that builds trust. And when that trust is built, you're going to be able to transfer belief with more stories, with more information, with more experience. You're going to be able to transfer belief. So I want you to think about right now these 4 elements. And if you haven't written them down, write them down somewhere. What's your background? Write it down. What's some of the challenges about that background? Maybe it was time, maybe it's stress, maybe it's not being appreciated, maybe it's not earning the money that you're earning, maybe there's no upward mobility, maybe it's a negative, toxic environment, whatever. I don't know what it is for you, but you describe that you found a solution with your company, your product, your opportunity, entrepreneurship, working from home, and how you feel about the future now. How do you wake up different now to be able to move forward in your life? Okay, those are the 4 pieces of your story. And in a moment, I'm gonna have Pete and Pat come in and talk about this in terms of some of their comments, and then we're going to give you a challenge on this today, which is going to lead us to tomorrow. We're going to lead to some of the other parts of this pyramid that Pete described. And isn't that a beautiful shape, that little pyramid shape? We're going to share some of the other elements of being a great presenter to you over the course of these 3 days. But Pete, let me throw it back to you and get yours and Pat's comments on what I just shared with everyone.
Yeah, man, Eric, it's incredible. Like stories, 2 minutes can land you more distributors, more customers than anything else that you do in your business. It absolutely can. Like 2 minutes. My career was launched with telling a story 3 minutes on a Brendan Burchard stage. And the amount of things that happened as a result of that were so powerful. And so like Eric said, facts tell, stories sell. People can get facts, they can get facts galore everywhere. Like they can just get facts everywhere. They can go find education everywhere. But for somebody to move you with a story and to kind of show you that, yeah, I've been in your shoes before, without even having to state that. What Eric just taught you is basically saying, hey, I've been in your shoes before, but I've gone somewhere that you probably desire to go. And what people find themselves in is they find themselves in your story. And so Pat, I'm going to go a little bit deeper, but I want to welcome to the stage, because I think, Pat, the 4 elements of what Eric just talked about are phenomenal. And I think there's some things, because we want to help get people prepared to share their story. I don't care if they're making $1 million or no dollars today. I want them to begin to really take their storytelling to the next level. And they're going to be sharing here in a little bit. And so PQ, guys, will y'all give some love in the chat? You saw him at GoPro. He is a savant, and he is very savantish, has gotten to work with people like Eric and Marina and Damon John and Dean and Tony and so many other people. But Pat, what would you do to help just get folks ready around the framework that Eric just laid out? And why don't you take it for about 8 to 10 minutes and help support and get everybody prepared to start sharing their stories today?
Thanks, Pete, and thanks, Eric, for the opportunity to be here today. I love this topic because telling your story is so important, and getting good at this is really important for your business. The first thing I want to do is just say to everyone watching this, your story is enough. And as you look at this 4-part framework that Eric just masterfully laid out for us, if you're sitting there saying, well, my background is too ordinary, ordinary is better than extraordinary. Having a background that's relatively ordinary, even having pain that's relatively ordinary, that's one of your greatest strengths, not a weakness. And so I want you to know that your story is enough. You don't have to pretend to be somebody else. You don't have to pretend to talk like Eric or have a story like Pete or Pat's. You can just tell your story. And the more ordinary, here, let me tell you this. If you have a 1 in a million story, how many people are you going to help? How many people are going to join your team? 1 in a million. But if you have a one in every household story, you're going to have a lot bigger audience. You're going to have a lot more impact. You're going to help a lot more people. And so recognize that your story is enough. And the second thing I want you to recognize before we even start is your story won't be perfect. And that's perfect. You don't want your story to be perfect. Nobody wants to join a team with perfect people, because then I feel bad about myself. And then I feel like I don't keep up and I can't fit in. So I want you just to tell your story even before it is perfect. I want you to tell your story with ums and ahs, with forgetting part of it and then remembering that part later. I want you to screw it up lots of times, because until you screw it up lots of times, you're never going to get really good at this. If you wait until your story is perfect, you will never tell it. If you wait until you're ready, you're never going to go on Facebook later today and share your story with this group. I want you to get out there and tell your story now. Screw it up many times, because the more times you do that, the better you're going to get. And you're just going to get better and better and better at telling your story. When you look at that 4-part framework that Eric just laid out, let's talk about each of the parts. I'm going to give you 1 or 2 things that you can do to really add some punch to your story. The first is your background. You don't want to go too long in this part. I think the temptation is to start like the day you were born and fill us in on everything you've done since the day you were born, and that would be a mistake. If your story starts, I was born at a very young age, you're doing it wrong, okay? We just need the highlights here. And remember the purpose of this first 2 sections. The purpose of these first 2 sections is to connect. And so if you have something in your background that is like the person that you're talking to, if you're talking to a parent, might want to mention your kids. If you're talking to someone who has the same profession or went to the same college, might want to mention that. If you're talking to somebody who's from the same part of the country or has had a struggle that you've had, might want to mention that, because the purpose is to connect. So keep it short and highlight the parts that are similar to the people that you're talking to. Let's talk about the second thing, the things you don't like or did not like about your life at that time or didn't like about your background. The hard parts. Limit your list to 3. Great speaking, all lists are 3. The brain is a funny thing. I studied how the brain listens and how the brain learns. I've studied how the person who you're talking to is hearing what you're saying. And one of the things that happens is when your list gets longer than 3, and you add a 4th thing to the list and then a 5th thing to the list, you're probably thinking, oh, they won't remember those last 2. Or maybe you're thinking they'll remember those last 2, but they'll forget the first 2. Neither one is true. When you add a 4th one and a 5th one to the list, the human brain actually throws all 5 of them out. The human brain says, too much, can't do it, and it stores them in another place where it doesn't remember them. As soon as your list gets longer than 3 or 4, our brain gives up and says, not even going to try, and I won't remember those. That's why every list that you give, lists of the bad things, lists of the good things, lists of the benefits, lists of the costs, any list that you give should always be the best 3, the most connecting 3. Remember your purpose of these first 2 sections, to connect with the people that you're talking to. So along with your background and the second part, the things that you do not like about that situation or did not like about that situation, highlight the ones that will be most like the person you're talking to. If you had loneliness and weren't surrounded with community, and you think the person who you're talking to is experiencing that, highlight that one. If working too much and seeing your family too little was one of yours, and you think that's true for the person you're talking to, highlight that one. Highlight the ones from your story that connect with the person you're talking to. And if you're speaking to a group, pick the most common ones. But if you're speaking to an individual, do a little homework. My kids would call it creeping. Creep on them a little bit and figure out what their pain points are and try to highlight those as well. So those are the first 2 sections. The purpose is to connect. Don't go too long. Limit your list of pain points to 3, which brings us to the pivot point. Part 3 is I found something. I found something. And then you share with them what you found. Here's the key to this section. You got to change your voice in this section, and you should lean in a little bit, okay? And so if you were speaking back here, when you get to section 3, I want you to lean in about 6 inches. Works just as good across the table at Starbucks as it does on stage, as it does on Zoom, as it does in a living room with 4 people. Okay? Just lean in a little bit when you get to this part because you're going to share a secret. And that will naturally cause the audience to lean in toward you. And so that's what, and then the second thing you want to do is change your voice. You should pick up your pace, pick up your volume, and instead of turning your voice down at the end of every sentence, turn your voice up at the end of every sentence. So when you're talking about the things that you don't like, I was working too much. Lower your volume, lower your voice. I was not seeing my family enough. Lower your pace, lower your volume, lower your tone. But then I discovered something. Then I found something. A friend invited me to a meeting. Now pick up your pace, pick up your volume, and pick up your tone. This is where your voice changes. And that will help cue the audience that the story's taking a turn. We've hit the bottom and the story's starting to turn up. And that's going to get them to lean in and listen extra close. Which brings us to the fourth part. The fourth part is how you feel about the future. Now, a couple things I want to say here. The first one is this isn't facts, just numbers, facts. Like now I'm making more money. Now I'm working fewer hours. Those are facts, but that's not what this one is. You can mention those, but what you should emphasize isn't the facts. You should emphasize how you feel about those facts. So instead of saying, now I'm making more money, why don't you say, now I don't worry about the bills every month. And my wife is thrilled with being able to go on vacation. Like talk about the feelings, not just the facts. Now I work less hours. That's a fact. Now I love being able to attend every one of my kids' school programs. Now I love being able to have time to visit my parents more often. Those are feelings that you're having, not just facts. And so make sure you have facts, feelings, and not just facts there. And then one last thing I'll add to this section. If you haven't been in the game that long, you still have how you feel about the future. A lot of people are hesitant to tell their story because they're just getting started. And I believe even 7 days in, you have a story to tell. You may not have made big money yet. You may not have signed up a single person yet, but it can change how you feel about the future. You can have more enthusiasm, more community. You can have more opportunity. You can have more optimism and confidence. You can change those feelings quickly. And so if you are just 5 days into this business, if you are just 2 weeks into this business, don't be like, oh, I haven't made it big yet. Oh, I don't have a team of 100 yet. Don't worry about that because you're telling how you feel about the future. You don't have to ever apologize or hesitate to tell your story. And Pete, one thing that I know and I have learned over the years is that your story is enough. And ordinary stories of people who are just getting started, but their attitude and their confidence has changed. Ordinary stories of people whose backgrounds aren't stuff that books will be written about, but are stuff that everybody else experiences in this day and age or around here or with this background. Those are the most powerful stories when they're told. And what I see too often is people are afraid to tell them. People don't think they're good enough stories. They have what I call story envy. And what they don't realize is that they're sitting on a gold mine. That story, because it is so connecting, so common, and so optimistic and confidence building, that story is what's going to grow your business, grow your team, and make the future wide open for anything you want to accomplish.
Yeah, Pat, that's so good, guys. Like everything that Pat just said, comboed with what Eric said, like the two of that combined is so profound and so powerful. And this is what I want you guys to know before we start talking about the homework assignment here in just a couple of minutes, and probably take a few questions here on Facebook as well. But listen, it literally is stories. Somebody told me the other day, or maybe it was somebody in this community. I heard it was about a month ago. And I heard it like we measure the amount of times that we work out. We measure the amount of time, how many pounds that we lose. We measure all these measurements. What if we started keeping track of how many times we shared our story? Might have been Eric. It might have been Pat. I don't know who it was. It might have been Pat, but I heard it from someone. And it was so profound because I was like, yes. You see, I was on Brendan's stage and I hadn't made any money. I didn't have a big business. My business was just starting in 2015, Pat. I was overweight. I was sweating. I was shaking. I was nervous. Many of you in the GoPro Recruiting Challenge saw the picture. And I was in my mind, like a lot of you are in your mind right now, saying, who wants to hear my story? There's nothing crazy about it. It was just real. It's authentic. And as I got up there with all of the noise going on in my head and thinking about sweating and shaking, and my wardrobe was awful, and I just like all of those things, I shared my story. And Brenda, or at, weeks later, months later, the people in that room were some of my very first customers in my business. Pat Quinn was at my very first thing that we ever did, and half of the room was in Brendan's room where they heard me tell my 3-minute story. It might have been 2 minutes, my 2-minute story, 2 or 3, and I can't remember. But here's what I want you to know. Brendan asked me a question. He said, you've had to practice a lot. I said, Brendan, I was in my hotel room looking in a mirror, practicing it probably 50, 60, 70 times in the last 2 days. And he said, I could tell. Like, I really believe that. Keep track. I believe the person who's going to win, the person who's going to build their business, is the person who understands how to grow in their communication around telling their story. And I would keep track of how many times you're telling your story, because I think you're going to be able to see some data like, man, every 5 times I share my story, I'm seeing a new distributor, every 10 times or every 4 times or every 3 times. And here's what's going to happen, Pat. At the beginning, it's going to be like, I got to share my story 10 times before I see a new person come into my business. But all of a sudden you begin to get better and more powerful and more profound. And all of a sudden, it's like every 3 times I share my story, I know it means a new person's coming into my business. I'm not giving you those as real data or actual data that we know. I'm giving that to you as one of the most important things to gaining new business is sharing your story. It's sharing your story. And let me tell you how you get out of your own mind and overcome the fear. And I'm not powerful enough. Here you go. Simple hack. Think about the person you're speaking to versus thinking about yourself. Think about for a minute, like Eric and I did this. Eric and I told you this, like I took Eric through this process a few times. Eric is a powerful presenter, but I'm like, Eric, like we talked about the GoPro accelerator. Many of you, how many accelerators are out there? If you're an accelerator on Facebook right now, drop it in the comments section. I want to see you. I want to see you. Drop it in the comments section. But as Eric talked about the accelerator program, you know what Eric wasn't thinking about? He wasn't thinking about the price, or was anybody going to want this, or like, is this a good, no, he was thinking about, I can change that person's life who's listening to me. I know something, I've been somewhere, I've had an experience that will have me change this person's life. And because he was thinking about changing somebody's life and not about all of his worries or concerns or any of the noise that goes on in all of our minds, he was able to present so powerfully and eloquently because he was thinking about the person on the other end. Listen, today, a lot of you, Eric, a lot of these people, Eric, they're going to share their story in the group today, and people's lives are going to be impacted as they share their story today. There's other people that are going to be impacted. And so, Eric, I want to, if you're cool with it, I want to throw something crazy out there, but I know we've got, I'd love to give away at least one ticket to Presentation Power Workshop, which is
that's it.
which is retailed at $5,000. I'd at least love to give one away. I'm not going to say we couldn't give maybe one or two, but one for sure, based on people beginning to share their story today. Let's give, I know that's here at the end of the month. Let's give away at least one ticket. And if somebody already has it, they can gift it to somebody else in their organization or their company. But it's got to start by them sharing their story today, Eric. It's got to start by them sharing their story. So you set the framework, Eric. I want everybody in there to make sure they put hashtag my story.
Yeah. So let's give them the instructions. You throw me on there. What we want people to go on to social and to tell their story using this 4-part structure that we provided today. And we want them to put hashtag my story. Okay. If you do put a hashtag my story, we're going to, let's even add to that. Let's give away 20 tickets to GoPro and at least one Presentation Power Workshop ticket. That's a $5,000 ticket. The GoPro tickets are $500. So 20 of those, that's $10,000. So it's $15,000 we'll give away today, just for people to go and tell your story. Do it messy, do it unperfect, whatever, but go live or record it any way you want to do it. Pat, do you have any feedback to these people as far as what they need to do and as far as how to go tell their story when they do that hashtag my story?
No, the most important thing is to be yourself, keep it under 2 minutes, and connect with the people you're speaking to. This is going to be awesome to hear all these different stories. The difference in the stories is what's beautiful about it. If they all sound the same, we're doing something wrong.
Yeah, I would just add, like, if it's your first time sharing it, record it. Don't go live, record it. Record it and get it right. And Eric, we want them to not just post it out on their social channels, but we also want them to post it in the group. So they're going to post it places.
In the GoPro Challenge group.
Yes.
Go to the GoPro Challenge group. If you're not already in there, if you're watching it someplace else, go in the GoPro Challenge group, post it on your social, but also post it inside the GoPro Challenge group. We're going to be choosing some of the best ones and be able to highlight some of the best ones, provide some coaching to those. We're going to give away some tickets to GoPro. We're going to give away at least one ticket to the GoPro, the Presentation Power Workshop, the 2-day workshop that we're doing out of the big studio, 23rd and 24th of February. Excited about that. That's going to be amazing. But listen, this is step one in getting you to break free. Keep it in the 3 of us, please. Getting you to break free of hiding your story. We want you to get out in the world and tell your story to the world. And this is step one. We want you to face your fear. We know it's going to be a little nerve-wracking, maybe to do it, but you could do this. You got this. And then tomorrow and on the 10th and on the 11th, we're going to be providing information to you on how to do a perfect presentation, how to get a person launched in their network marketing business, how to train on skills within your organization, how to create your keynote presentation, your signature talk, which these guys are absolute experts at doing. So we're going to be crafting that with you over the course of the next 2 days. So here's what I'm going to tell you. One is accept the challenge. If you accept the challenge, put I'm in into the comments. I'm in. I'm going to tell my story. Even if it's messy, Pat gave me permission to do it. And when it doesn't have to be perfect, I'm going to tell my story and I'm going to post it inside the group. I'm going to face my fear. I'm going to take a step. Okay. That's step number one. You need to hashtag my story. That's where we're going to look for them. Hashtag my story, and also make sure you put it inside the GoPro Challenge Facebook group. Okay. Second thing I will tell you is whoever gets the most here, I want you to challenge your entire team to tell their story. Everybody in your organization. Work with them, coach them, help them, have them tell their story on video and be part of this challenge with you. Because I want you to just think about this. You're going to face your fear and do this, right? let's say you have 10 people on your team. What if for the next 24 hours, you had them watch this training and you worked with them where they each told their story? I'm going to promise you something. The moment that happens, you have a different team. The moment that happens, that those 10 people are going to see possibilities that they never even thought were even real before. They're going to see a future that they didn't even expect. They're going to have people reaching out to them saying, I had no idea about your story. Thank you for telling it. So what if you had a team of 100 and you got them all to tell the story and hashtag my story? What if you had a team of 1,000 and all of them did this over the next 24 hours? An explosion of network marketing positivity around the world. You know, we have something like, I don't know, 40,000 people in this challenge and it's growing every minute. But what if all of those people got everybody on their teams to tell their story and the world heard 500,000 stories in the next 24 hours? We could absolutely rock the world, and we will. Those of you who take this seriously. And then, you know, I think Pete maybe wants to answer a few questions that are being posted inside of Facebook, but I will tell you, tomorrow, we're going to get into these other presentations, but this is the foundation. You get this done, the others are just a natural progression. You're going to find yourself comfortably sliding into those others. So maybe Pete and Pat, if you guys can answer some questions, I think that might be great.
Yeah. So
If you
guys,
have a question, throw it into your comments.
yeah, throw it into the comments. Everybody, hey, not like there's almost 10,000 of you here, or over 10,000, close to 10,000 watching from all across the world. And I've probably seen hundreds of you say I'm in. Hundreds. Like the way Eric presented it, if I had a team right now, I'm off this call. I'm saying, here's the framework. We're all doing this. Watch this training. Let's go. Let's go. And so what you want to do, and I want to make sure you guys understand what's at stake. The most important thing at stake is it's making you step outside of your comfort zone and all of a sudden put yourself out there. And maybe you're not afraid of that. That's awesome. You know what else is at stake? We're going to choose some of the best stories and highlight them on Saturday in a bonus training and coach them. We're going to coach some of the most powerful stories for all of you to be able to hear. So you guys are going to be able to be with us Thursday and Saturday backstage, and we'll send you the details about that. But the people who we will highlight will come from the story challenge. And Eric also said the presentation power workshop, at least one will be given away and 20 GoPro tickets from today's homework assignment. So a lot of technical questions. Just go and record a video, upload it to Facebook and post it and say hashtag my story, one word, put it on your social channels and put it in the GoPro this GoPro challenge group right here that you're in, the group that you're in right now. Post it with the hashtag my story, and hey, go encourage other people as they're sharing their stories. You be an encouragement to them. Eric,
One quick caveat, because we're going to be sharing this inside of this GoPro challenge group.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah. Great.
Yeah. Make it generic. Don't mention any companies or products, but you can tell your generic network marketing story. You know, here's my background. Here's my frustration. I found a solution, you know, and you could talk generically about the solution. Do you need to put me on the screen? There, thank you. And how you feel about the future. You can do that generically. So think in terms of that, because we want to share it as examples for everybody. And those commonalities are going to empower and inspire everybody too. Pat, do you have any last feedback before we wrap up today?
There's lots of comments about how nervous people are and the fear that people have around this. And I want to first tell you that's very normal. If you haven't shared your story a lot, or even if you have, when you put it out publicly for the first time like this, there's going to be nerves. You know, that's good. That means you understand the stakes. That means that you understand the impact that your story could have and you want to be good at it. But Pete mentioned something before, focus on the people who would hear the story, not yourself. And the thing what I would add to that is nobody is an expert on your story more than you are. If I asked you to give a 2-minute presentation on nuclear physics, or I asked you to give a 2-minute presentation on economics, I'd expect you to be nervous. You don't know as much about that as other people do. But nobody knows more about your story than you do. Nobody knows your background like you do and your pain points. Nobody knows where the big story changed, what you found that changed it. And nobody knows how you felt after that change like you do. You are the world's leading expert on your story. And if you focus on that and the fact that somebody who hears this may have their life impacted in a positive way, they need you. They don't just want you to tell your story. They need you to tell the story to have that change in their life that you had in your life. That's going to help you with your nerves. But recognize it's a normal part of the process. Don't forget to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. And you'll stop shaking just long enough to record 2 minutes or go live and give us 2 minutes. This is going to be awesome to see all these different stories, Eric.
Yeah.
And I would say, do it messy. Do it messy. Screw up, stumble, fumble over your words, forget what you were going to say. Doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. What matters is you just be you, do it messy, follow that simple. I don't care if you say, okay, first thing is I'm supposed to tell you my background. All right. I'm a construction worker. All right. The second thing is I'm supposed to tell you what I didn't like. It's hard on my body. I don't like the weather. The economy changes everything. They don't pay me what I'm worth. And I have to deal with an idiot who sits next to me all day in my construction job. All right. Third thing I'm supposed to say is I found a solution. I found this thing. I don't care if you literally follow the bouncing ball to tell your story. It's still going to work. It's still going to be fine. And like Pat said, perfect stories are not interesting. What's interesting is the imperfect. What's interesting is, people being authentic, real human beings. And we've been trained not to share our pain for, since we were little kids. Don't show your weakness. Don't show your pain. Don't talk about your problems. You're not leaving people there. I just want you to know this is going to empower people more than anything else. Pete, what comments do you have before I kind of summarize all the assignments?
Yeah, and then if you want to take some questions, we can. You don't have to, but
sure.
But guys, what I would just say is, man, and a lot of you are asking a lot of technical questions. Don't worry about it. Eric just gave you the basics. You want to share it in your native language? Share it in your native language. That's awesome.
Yep.
That's great. Do that. Keep it under 2 minutes. Don't go long. And the only way that we will be able to review it is if you put the hashtag #mystory, one word. If you don't put that, we won't be able to review it, which, there's a lot of prizes at stake. And just put yourself out there. This is the foundational block. Get good at telling your story, and then also be great at telling other people in your organization's story. That's where you start. So some of you are like, I don't have the story. Well, get great at telling their story. And then let that build your confidence to get you to be able to create your story. So don't use that as an excuse. You can use somebody else's story. That's the beauty about this, Eric. That's the beauty of this profession. I couldn't come into my new
so many
work,
stories.
Eric,
Yeah, it's the best.
Eric, I couldn't come in and be like, well, you know what? I'm going to share Tony Robbins' story with you and how he's built his company. That's why my company's good. No, nobody would give a rip at all, because Tony and I are two separate companies. But this profession allows you, lots of objections on this, allows you to share your leaders or upline story. So Eric gave you a framework at how you could do that with them until you start making money, and then you can use yours. So don't use that as a block.
And let me, and we're kind of answering some questions as we go through this. I want you to understand something. Until you can get out of your head, you're going to be stuck in network marketing. Until you get out of your head and learn how to speak into existence your business, there's only so far you're going to go. So yes, I know it's scary, but it's probably also scary for you to build a business, right? You're probably also stuck and not having a breakthrough in your life and in your business. This little thing, first of all, when you get out of your head and you start to verbalize this story, everything's going to change for you emotionally. Second thing is you're going to be stunned at how people embrace you differently, how they accept you differently, how they listen to you differently when you tell the story. You're going to go, oh my gosh, people are kind. Oh my gosh, people are listening. Oh my gosh, people want to hear more. This is amazing. And if you need to see some inspiration, starting as soon as this thing is over, you're going to start seeing stories show up inside of this group, the GoPro Challenge group. Watch those stories. Just watch story after story after story after story after story. Watch 100 of them. Watch 500 of them. To go, what? You know what? It's my turn. Use that to build up your courage. So I want to give you like a 1, 2, 3, 4 assignments, and then I'll let Pat talk, and then we'll have Pete close it up. Assignment number 1, record your story, and post it into the GoPro Challenge group with the hashtag #mystory, one word, my story. Number 2, do everything in your power to encourage every single person on your team to do the same thing. Assignment number 3, make sure everyone you know and care about sees this training in the next 24 hours before this disappears, right? They're part of this 3-day experience to have a life-changing experience, right? Assignment number 4, be here tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific time, where we go through the second part of this free 3-day presentation power challenge. Okay, so those are my 4 assignments. Maybe put those into the comments so you can recap what those assignments are. Pat, what do you say to people, and then I'll let Pete wrap it up.
Hey, there's so many comments flying through right now with questions like, what if we have more than one story? Or can we tell our product story, or should we tell our business opportunity story? Or what if my story isn't about my background, isn't about my job? Here's a tip for everybody. You can't get this wrong. Like, don't let I might not be perfect stop you from doing this. If your background isn't about your job, that's fine. If you have 2 stories, tell one of them. The only way you can get this wrong, really, is if you don't do it. The only way you can get this wrong is if you let a technical question or a question about, oh, I don't know if this is right, stop you from doing it. So you can't get this wrong. Right before you turn on the camera, just say to yourself, I can't get this wrong. As long as I authentically and truly tell my story, as long as I get it out there, and as long as I don't hit delete as soon as I hit stop recording, I can't get this wrong. And so we just want to hear these stories. And the first time you do it won't be the best time you do it, but you can't have a second time until you have your first time. So Pete, I think we all remember the first time we shared our story with the world and what a difference it made in our lives. The first time we did it wasn't perfect. For many of us, the first time we did it was ugly, but that's part of our journey and it's part of our growth. And it's really the reason that we're here today. And so I just want to continue to encourage people. You can't get this wrong. Just get it out there to the world and good things are going to happen.
Yeah, guys.
And one last thing I want to just throw in before Pete jumps in and wraps up for us is, if you smash the share button, I'm going to give away another 10 tickets to GoPro, and we're just going to do a random drawing of anybody who smashes the share button on this video by the end of the day, February 9th. Anybody who smashes the share button, we're going to do a drawing and give away 10 tickets to GoPro. So all you got to do is smash the share button. The other question that I'm seeing a lot that Pete, maybe you can answer in the wrap up is, how long does the video have to be, and what deadline do they have to submit it?
Yeah, great question. So, hey, everybody. Yeah, thank you, Eric. Hit that share button, everybody. And so listen, here's just kind of closing this out today. It needs to be 2 minutes or less. Like, you want to be concise and get it 2 minutes or less. And you want to have it turned in by the end of the day tomorrow. The end of the day tomorrow, like literally, in the next 24 hours is when you want to submit this. We're not going to give you a lot of time to walk through this and do it all. Like, submit it in the next 24 hours, less than 2 minutes. And so, hey, everybody, what an incredible day one. How good was day one? Like, put that out there. Give Pat, give Eric, myself, just give us some feedback on how great day one was. But here's where we're at. Day one, we just scratched the surface. The key to becoming unstoppable and incredible is being an incredible presenter and communicator. But what we want to see out of these 3 days for you is you writing all 5 of these talks. If you will get these talks written out and perfected, you will begin to become unstoppable. So you got to get them written and you got to get coached around them, and you will become unstoppable. So today, day one, we tackled this one. Day 2, tomorrow, we will tackle these middle 3, which is going to be unbelievable tomorrow with Eric and Pat. And day 2, tomorrow. And then day 3 on Thursday, we will show how you use your story and your signature talk to build your company. That's what we're doing on Thursday. Thursday, everybody goes backstage. Everybody, you'll get a link to be able to come backstage with us for free. It won't cost you to be backstage with us on Thursday. And either Thursday or Friday, we will announce the 10 people who on Saturday, we'll have them come on Saturday on a bonus training, same time, and you'll get to hear 10 people share their stories, and Eric, Pat, myself, and other people coach those folks. That might be one of the most valuable days. And I asked Eric if we wanted to do it last night, and he said, absolutely. So make sure you put Saturday down on your calendar as well, because that will be the accumulation of you actually seeing the demonstration of somebody sharing their story powerfully, but yet still being coached on how they can take it to the next level. Guys, our whole goal and our whole thing is master these 5, build these 5, and become a master of them, and watch what happens in your network marketing business. And so tomorrow, same time, same place, Eric said, go share your story in this group, #mystory. Go make sure your team shares the story and takes on the challenge. Share this training with your team. And he also said to smash that share button as well. He gave out a bunch of prizes for today. And so we will see you guys back here tomorrow at the same time, same place. Have an incredible night. Can't wait to see those stories light up the Facebook group. We'll see you tomorrow.
Boom, boom, boom. I've been running from 9 to 5, been biting my tongue for all this time. Won't let anyone cut me short. I was thinking this was the way to go, and you put up your puppet show. I say cheers to life. No, I'll be no good man's wife. Just leave me alone. I'm running the show. I'm telling you, it's my time to rise up. Live the life I'm proud of. No, you better go home. I'm telling you, it's my time to rise up. Live the life I'm proud of. So I woke up, sun in my eyes, forgot all about what I did last night. What I do, remember that it was real, real life. Talks about me are never good. I don't live like the way that I should. Oh well, I'm in for some fun tonight. Just leave me alone. I'm running the show. I'm telling you, it's my time to rise up. Live the life I'm proud of. No, you better go home. I'm telling you, it's my time to rise up. Live the life I'm proud of. Hey now, don't be shy. Follow my lead if you wanna be mine. Hey now, just you and I. We could be the Just leave me alone.